Back all to Inside the Dojo Unreal Experiences. I'm your host, Jeasy Sehgal, and today's session is not just a conversation, it's rather a window into the future of storytelling. Our guest today is a visionary who works live at the intersection of emotion, design, and technology, a filmmaker, a creative director, and a world builder. He has crafted stories from some of the world's most recognized brands and studios. But his real superpower is seeing what others can't, the emotional architecture of a story before it's even rendered, lit, or framed. From experimental cinema to immersive storytelling, he has redefined what Previs can be, not just a technical pipeline, but a creative act, a place where tone, rhythm, and visual metaphor takes shape in real time. At a time where speed meets substance, he shows us that rapid prototyping can still be poetic, and that real time tools are not a limitation, but rather they're a liberation. Please join me in welcoming the extraordinary Tu Uthaisri to Inside the Dojo. Tu,
Hey, how are you guys going? Hi,
great,
Jesse.
great to see you. How's everything with you?
Good to see you. Yeah, it's been an exciting year for me. Yeah, diving deeper into real-time technology, virtual productions, and the mocap and all that, which is kind of you know, new to me. Coming from design background, right? But
Absolutely.
this is
Tu, I'm a big fan of your work. We've known each other for a while now, and you know, you work on the edge of the creative industries. Not only a filmmaker, but a creative director working in the commercial space
mm.
and prevising. Seriously, I'll take your class any day. That is just amazing. So, really a pleasure to have you join us here at Inside the Dojo, and the
Thank
floor is
you.
all yours. What are you going to show us and talk to us about?
Oh, okay. Today, so I gotta be talking about the work I've done in the past, say 2 to 3 years, which is diving deeper into virtual productions and real time technology that can help me as a creative director to um, do a rapid prototyping and do basically response to the client, how do prototype ideas into the visual, right? So basically a visualization of, I'm going to be talking into two parts. One is about the film, which people know that previous is quite important, but the other part is product visualization.
Of course, brilliant. Looking forward to it. And, as this particular industry and especially real time virtual production goes, it's more than just the LED wall. It's all about content and the creator's vision coming to life, and we are constantly learning and evolving with the new technologies coming out. So, really interested in seeing what you're going to pull out of your magic hat today.
Hopefully you guys can enjoy it. Before we start, I tend to do more a casual conversation rather than a formal presentation. But I have a lot of slides to go through. Right now, it's have 50 slides. So
Well, yeah,
we're gonna have fun talking about it. I might not cover everything in virtual production, but you can get a glimpse of my work and where I'm coming from.
all right, I'll be taking notes as long as there are no tests at the end of it,
All right, should I just go for my presentation then?
please.
Cool. Okay, present. Here you go. Okay, so today we will talk. The topic is visualizing the invisible. Um, and I just want to say this. Thank you to Virtual Production Dojo. This is gonna be my one of the first talk that I kind of gathering the ideas and stuff together from my previous work. So let's roll with that. So for agenda today, a little bit about myself at the beginning. Secondly, we want to talk about what is visualization, so we get our mindset ready for what we're talking about. Then, why is it matters for the creative like me? The third one, we go into a visualization for film and story. And the fourth is the product visualization with twin motion. This is kind of very exciting area for me, and a little bit of AI into that. And the closing thought and Q&A. Hopefully, we can get through, but in an hour and a little bit, and let's see how it goes. Right? We might need to skip some of the slides. Okay, just a little bit about me. My name is Tu Uthaisri. Right now, I call myself like a creative director. I have a filmmaker background, but also a designer background. I've been in the industry for, oh God, it's like 20 something years. Started as a graphic designer and now, doing a lot of things. And basically, to explain that more clearly, start off with being graphic designer, but go into web design, motion graphic, advertising. Did a little bit of VJ, projection mapping back in the day in the club. You did some interactive art, Flash and Unity. I got into animation, filmmaking, CGI, and virtual production. All that fun stuff is kind of tangled in this world of what I would just call it creative directing.
Cool. Definitely, this looks like a great map. And what would be really cool is to convert it into a GPS system.
Everybody had different maps, right? I think as I'm hearing a lot of story from where people are coming from. There's no straight line, right, for being a creative. But we here, and this is what we're gonna explore. So in the past 10 years, I've been lucky to work with a lot of big companies. I I came to the state in New York for my master degree in design technology, and then got into animation studio called PsyOp, and then I got into Google, stayed there for almost 10 years, came out and started my own business as a solo freelancer and have a little company, and that has been quite a fun time so far. So I've been working with Google a lot on technology like Google Glass back in the day. Now it's coming back, I think. I did experimental film, documentary. I did some AR stuff. I did like immersive phone, interactive wayfinding thing. Work on the product like the Google phone and the tablet. Also art directing a few things like lifestyle shoot with the photographer and a filmmaker. So as in-house in Google Creative, you actually has ability to play in the different roles. So myself, I'm a creative. Sometimes I'm the creative directing the project. Sometimes I'm a production film director. Sometimes I'm just finish the project. So we were wearing a lot of hats and seeing a lot of campaign and product come to life. And in the late 3 or 4 years, I've been involved in virtual production using Unreal Engine, like a lot of people here, where since the pandemic, it was a time to think about what's next. That get me excited into combining storytelling and film and animation, but also like how to kind of prototype it fast. And I think Unreal Engine kind of became the answer with the real-time technology, and it feels like the boat just keep rolling, right, starting. So it's gonna be a fun time. So yeah. And also I really enjoy teaching. The class I taught at Parsons for a couple of years. I did a class called Scrappy Filmmaking, which is how do we find ways to prototype ideas in film with phone and using filmmaking as the prototyping tool for ideas. We recently did the mocap. I'm still doing visualization, tech visualization class with the Handy Foundation, and we did workshop in Thailand and here and there. So education is playing a big part of my career at the moment. And I think it's good to pass on the knowledge, and we also learn from the students as well. Yeah, so I think it's good to share the technology and the knowledge to the next generation. So here is a quick reel of what I have been doing in the past, I think, 2-3 years on Unreal Engine.
Oh, whoa, this was unbelievable.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of robot and girl with mushroom, and I will be talking about those projects as well.
There were a couple of clips that I remember seeing from the fellowship as well. So
Yes, yes, yes.
we
It's
had a
in
lot of
the
fun.
same universe somehow, right?
That's amazing.
Thank you. How do I move forward from here? Okay. Next.
Okay.
Okay. Um, so you are just wondering what is the creative director? Just quickly frame the ideas of, there's everybody now that they tell you they're creative director because I don't know why, but the way I'm thinking about creative director is they are actually um, a person in between two teams. Basically, it's the client. This is in the commercial context, right? So it's the client, the brand, and the creative team, right? So we take the brief from the client. We have to ask a lot of questions. What is the brief about, and why they want to do this, and translate those messaging into the creative team. And those creative team come back to you and say if this is the right answer to the brief, and it kind of go back and forth. So the creative director, in traditional sense, it could be, I think traditionally is from the advertising agency, but now every company has creative director in a way that the in-house brand, say like Google, Apple, all those big brands, they already have their own marketing team with their creative team. So we have a creative director in that sense, and also the agency, then what's it called, the production companies, right? So everybody have the leader in the creative sense there. And what do creative director do? They communicate between clients and the team, right? They help defining the vision and think about the strategies and turn that into the visual, right? And you know, it's the team leader of the creative, right? But also we have to do quality control and also drive the innovation. That's all the key that we need to focus. And the bottom part is, okay, you need to be a good leadership. You have to be a good communicator, and you have to have a unique vision to answer the brief and lead that into the innovation. You have to have a good problem solving skills, also quick decision making, right? Um, I think for me here, the big word is communication. And as an immigrant to the US, I always have trouble, speaking. I'm more like a visual person. So a lot of time I use, when I do slides or presentation, I tend to show the image or the video than explaining it through words. So this is how I approach creative directing and talking to the client, and that's why we have 50 pages of text. But I think visuals basically explain more than the words, right? And I mean, everybody have different superpower, but I do visual. And let's hear a few words from our friend Quentin here.
So he goes, Quentin, it's not your job to create your vision. It's your job to have a vision. And then it's your job to hire talented individuals, to hire talented artists who understand your vision. And you articulate it to them. And then they take your vision and they create it. And by them creating it, you part it back a little bit, you add a little bit to it, but your vision is still a two-dimensional vision. They will take the different elements of your vision and make it three-dimensional. And then you'll get back more than you gave them, and then you'll know even more what you're talking about and what you're seeing, and then the vision will get filled in. You think you have to do everything, and you don't. You don't need to know anything about sewing to have wonderful costumes in your films. You just need to express what you want to the costume designers. You don't need to have a degree in engineering to have magnificent sets in your pieces. You need to describe what it is you want. You don't need to know how to take a bunch of different light stands and put them together to create a specific lighting effect. That's not your job. You don't need to know any of that. What you need to know is you need to have a vision and you need to know how to express it. And then you let the other people take it and do it for you. That is what a director does. I can't tell you how that sword of Damocles that it hangs. So he goes,
Hello. Yeah. So after hearing that, I mean, it's spot on, right? Like, being a creative director or a film director or any type of director, you have to be able to have an idea, a very unique idea, and then you have to be able to communicate it, explain it, or make people understand what your vision is. But you have to talk to the right people and the right team, and that is the key. So from this diagram, Frank Gehry, one of the most famous architect of our time, he has great idea, but his idea is in sketches, right? But he has to convey the sketches or the ideas to make it reality. So how do we convert that squiggly lines from the napkin sketch into a masterpiece. And that is the job of creative director or film director or any kind of director, right? And so from recap again, so creative director or film director, you need to create a vision and then explain the vision to the others. And how do you explain the vision to others? You make the deck, you make the video, you make the graphic, you make the sketches, but now you have all these visualization tools that can help you explain your idea better, right? So this is how I'm looking at all these tools that are coming in. It's basically part of the tool set or the equation of the communication tool. It's nothing, and you don't have to know everything. That's what Quentin was saying, right? So let's next. So we want to talk a little bit about visualization for film now. I think I'm doing okay with the time here. So yes.
No, that's perfect timing. No problem.
Okay, cool. So this is like a quick explanation what visualization is for those people who are still a little bit confused of what I'm saying. So for the storyteller like us or like you guys, visualization is a critical bridge that bridge between the narrative visions and its life in the early form, right? So it helps us plan the film, experimenting with it, and refine the complex shot or the story in now with the real-time technology in 3D environment like Unreal Engine. And it helped the creative to make decision earlier on, way before going to shoot. And then in turn, you will save time and money for the production, right? So there's so many types of visualization. There's a lot of people understand Previs is basically roughing out the version of the scene, of the story, of the shot, and how the film was edited, kind of rough, basically animatics, that kind of part of the Previs, right? But what if you elevate the Previs into a pitch vis? The pitch vis is you make the you use it for the pitch of your film or the idea. You don't have to do a whole story, or you can for the studio or investor to fund your project. So you kind of can elevate that previous gray boxes into the highly animated versions, right? Or tech vis. This is like when you get closer to the shoot, you need to understand how to actually place the camera or what the camera lens is, what kind of the lighting setup you need. It's basically a logistic setup of the complex scene. So once you have all that, you're going to shoot, you have all the plates, right? Then the post vis is all about putting like a visual effects into the plate that you shot. In this case, as you can see, with Tony Stark, the armor is basically very, game-like, quick stuff, just to show the director in the edit that okay, this is how are we gonna put, the visual effects in post. And then once you go in post, it could be going to CGIs or ILM is going. I think it's all about the decision making afterward. Evolution of pre-visualization. For a long time we have storyboard, 2Ds, napkin sketches, right? Like this is how we work in film for a long time, and you can visualize it in 2D. Or 3Ds, like in the Star Wars, they have like chess pieces that they put together in a miniature, and they understand the space, and you can use the miniature in the real visual effect shots, but you want to play around with the space and get your ideas out and talk to the crew. That's how you actually make everybody understand how we're going to go about shooting it, or what is this story, what is the scene. And you have the CGI. The early version is like super blocky, PlayStation 1 style, the Matrix Previs, which is super cool for me. And you have the more recent one, which is like with a nicer texture. But the goal is the same, is to pre-visualization the story, the shot, planning out the complex scene and break it down for other teams to understand and, push it forward.
And this is so cool. On the top right hand side, you had the storyboard from the Matrix, and that actually brings back memories when I was a student in Australia, in Sydney, and I did my internship with Animal Logic over there when the first Matrix was being done, and the whole pre-visualization was being done while the game was also being pre-created. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but how the code actually came about. It was an error in the computer.
That's super awesome.
Actually was an error that started raining down the computer screens, and we were all trying to pull the wires out. But this is so important, what you're talking about, the visualization of a story, a vision, a concept, and this is something that we've done in the industry for so many years, for 5-6 decades of the media entertainment industry. But recent years, especially in the 1990s, mid-90s to early 2000s, pre-visualization or visualization kind of just went away for some weird reason. People were just jumping into productions and everything else, trying to tighten up the pipeline. But now, pre-visualization, and especially with the tools that you were talking about, as a pitch viz, from pre-viz to pitch viz, and then going into tech viz and post viz, and coming from post-production, that is where stories come to life. It's not in the multi-million-dollar productions that the story come to life. Those are more technically challenged rather than this part. So this is just on the spot, and really great for me, even with coming 3 decades in the industry, to go back to the grassroots. So brilliant.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we might be in Sydney in the same time, but I'm not sure. I wasn't working in the Matrix like you, but I was working at a web designer that.
That's my 5 minutes of fame.
Yeah, I mean, it's now time to think about visualization, and more people will come into the industry, from games and even students, because the tools are just more accessible, right? And you get more ideas into the shot. It's not reserved for even people who know Maya. I used Maya before a long time ago, but now it's with Unreal. It just makes things much easier.
Absolutely.
Cool. Glad you chimed in a little bit. Just whenever you have ideas, just throw it in, and we can chat about it. Okay, let's keep going. So this is I think it's the latest Previs that I could find, and it's from Weta Effects, and super cool. I'm gonna play it for Last of Us Season 2.
The work that we did on Last of Us Season 2, the bulk of it was on Episode 2, the attack on Jackson from the infected horde.
The scope of the Previs work was where the town of Jackson is under siege by this big army of infected. And basically we find Maria and Tommy leading the defense of the town. So it was a really big moment and really exciting to be involved with. The filmmakers, Mark Millard and Craig Mazin, they really used the Previs in the best possible way, as a way to road test their story, road test how they were thinking of shooting it.
Previs to me is like a playground of how to create a film. It's actually the base of what filmmaking is, in my mind.
They had this very, handheld kind of aesthetic that they wanted, to bring the emotion and make it very personal in terms of camera operation. We actually have a hybrid system where you can set really simple keyframes, A and B for a move, and then apply, here is that move with a Steadicam, here is that move with shoulder-operated camera work, here is it shot from a drone. So you're keeping it light and simple for animators, so it's really fast and fun to use. You're seeing some big explosion, then immediately would be cutting to a close-up of someone reacting to it. So that groundedness of seeing how people are feeling about the sequence, it just when we watched it back, it was like, well, this is going to be really exciting to watch, you know.
When you're in a shoot, a lot of the times all you're having is a tennis ball on a stick. So being able to show Previs to the performers might help everyone visualize it as well.
For the Previs that we've done at Weta, you know, it was definitely action-packed, but it was also probably our most emotional Previs that I've done. It was really one of the best experiences that I had in Previs so far.
Just having that play and understanding that this might all change, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it actually remains the same. And when it does, and you see that pushed from Previs into final, it's quite rewarding. The work that we did on
how do I go back?
If you try pressing escape.
Yeah. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Cool. So I think with the new directors who born in the generation of games and 3D shooters, Previs is feel like home, right? Like we're not scared of going into 3D environment and like prototype things out and play around with cameras. And nowadays, again, with Unreal Engine, that you can do it on real time, right? I mean, but from my experience and talking to a lot of directors, it's not everybody like to stick with Previs. Previs is just a guideline for planning the shot, right? So some director want to be in the shoot and feel the scene and work with actors. So they, and that's fine. I think you need to have that. But some of the shot that's more complicated or packed with visuals or monster and things like that, it's good to kind of prototype it out. And again, I think it's also make the crew and the team understand what your vision is instead of just talking words, right? So, or storyboard. And I think it's really helpful in that sense. I want to kind of bring you to another side of filmmaking, which is commercial here. And this project from Framestore actually utilized Unreal Engine from the beginning to the end, where before sometimes the Previs is only for the reference, right? But now, what if you can do Previs, you can do the shoot, and you can do post with everything with Unreal Engine, So that would be almost like a breakthrough because you're not throwing out the Previs, you actually build on top of your project per se. So let's hear what this guy is saying.
A small specialist team of generalists at Framestore LA transformed the Hollywood Hills into a magical floral world with petal explosions, underwater flower trails, and a Hollywood sign covered in bloom for Gucci's Flora campaign starring Miley Cyrus and shot on 35mm film. The team was heavily using Unreal Engine for rapid-paced CG shot production, ranging from small photoreal elements over particle work and up to full CG environments. During the 3-day shoot, we surveyed each location utilizing high-fidelity LiDAR scans. The team generated detailed textured meshes through scanning software and photogrammetry with high-resolution photographs taken from a helicopter, and captured HDRIs for lighting purposes. In Unreal Engine, the team recreated the topography with height maps generated from the scan data and used the path tracer in combination with the on-set HDRIs to create a photoreal look with procedural landscape materials and a wide variety of grass and flower assets to establish a rich and multifaceted flower coverage. For more creative freedom in terms of art direction, the team also hand-placed individual plants with the foliage tool. The end scene is a 600-frame-long tracking shot with hundreds of thousands of individual plants that had to look realistic from a close-up to an ultra-wide aerial framing, eventually replacing almost 99% of the shot with CG elements. For the various petal explosions, the team used Unreal's effects system Niagara and created custom sprites from real flowers captured on set. Using pre-designed effects sims in Unreal as a starting point, speed, direction, wind force, and turbulence values were adjusted to match the petals in the plate and later rendered as individual depth-sliced passes to be comped in Nuke. Mesh-smooth geometry was used as a particle emitter inside Niagara to create the underwater flower trails and then rendered through an underwater level with fractal waves and light rays. From the little additions, like a golden earring that was textured using a modified Quicksilver material with a custom light setup, to the massive set extensions, all of the VFX work on this project was achieved using Unreal Engine, Nuke, and 3D Equalizer. This untraditional pipeline and small agile team helped us react promptly to client feedback. Eventually, every single shot was touched by VFX, even shots initially planned for in-camera, with a result that hopefully speaks for itself.
Man, this project is so good, and I think the team did a great job of pushing Unreal Engine into the production pipeline, and it's actually shot on film, right? So a lot of people was talking about using Previs and go onto the LED volume and using that. That's another way of using it. But what if you can take those Previs and kind of hype it up and use that as post-base and basically use as the ground base to build the visual effect to the end. That's kind of amazing how this big studio has been kind of pushing the workflow. And the key part here is there's a small, I don't know how small the team is, but they are generalists, right? Like I think with Unreal Engine, it's hard to be a specialist. You have to know a lot of things, but I'm sure somebody good at animation than others, but to use real-time technology, you have to somewhat be a generalist to understand the whole process and build on top of that. And that's why learning is really important in this case, right? Okay, so commercial, pretty cool, and this is super recent as well.
A small
Yep.
That's a good question, especially for newcomers wanting to get into this part of the workflow and everything else. You mentioned a key point. There are a lot of next generation creatives who are coming out of universities, colleges, courses, who are predominantly game designers, game artists, and so forth, right? So they understand level design, they understand particle systems, and so forth. So getting into the commercial industry or the film industry, of course, the game industry is part of the bigger media and entertainment umbrella overall. What is the easiest way for somebody to start getting into and creating Previs that becomes post-viz, becomes pitch-viz, which is now production ready, like you spoke about this particular commercial?
I do think having a good solid ground of Unreal Engine from game design is good, but the way filmmaker think about thing is very different from game. Even in film department, right? Like the DP and the shooting crew is talking in different language than the post crew, right? So to be able to kind of jump or cross over into film or like entertainment, I mean, linear storytelling, I think it would be great to, hang out with with film people and just listen to what they're talking about. And I think with game, you have a lot more insights and technical knowledge of the engine, but you might not understand the camera work or how you look at the framing or how you understand the lighting, cinematic lighting. I mean, this is kind of like you only design from what the camera see. You don't need to design something else off the frame. But when you do label design, you design everything, right? So I think just the first step is to transition from game vocabulary into film and cinema world. I mean, I'm coming from design as well, so I have a different perspective, and I have to learn all this, and film industry working in the faster pace than game, because games sometimes you design for like a year or two, right? And you kind of almost like a focus pass. But I think for commercial especially, you have to turn around in days or weeks. And how do you get that understand the pressure of working with a lot of people in the quick deadline. I mean, that's something you have to practice and have experience with. It's not just you just have to keep doing it. Yeah. So that's like a short answer to your question.
That's good. Great. Thank you.
Cool. Hopefully we can talk a little bit later about this, because I just came. I didn't go to film school, for example. I don't even know a lot of vocabulary, but because I work in post, I work in editing, I work in animation, I kind of understand the linear um, pipeline. So that's what you have to understand.
A small specialist team of
Okay.
generalists at
Sorry.
Framestore LA transformed the Hollywood Hills into a
Go. Okay, quickly, benefit of visualization. Communicate about the film, communicate your vision, enhance the creative, and also help decision making along the line. Save cost and time, right? Encourage collaboration, of course, when you have Previs, the DP, the director, production designer, gotta be in the same room, talk about this thing, figure out something else, and problem solve the shot, right? And also that's what you optimize the shot and make a better planning and also when you have a not post-with, tech with, you actually prototyping your technique of how you shoot it. So you know already how are you going to shoot it on before the day, then it's much easier to integrate Previs into virtual production. Okay, now we're talking about the use case. So previously, this project was done last year. It's called the Unlit. It was a full virtual production film that I shot in the studio in Thailand that I used to be part of. So we have a full LED volume, and then we shot. It's basically an experimental film with light and sound, just one character. It's basically a visual journey into the unknown, right? So it's called the Unlit. And I just want to take you through like the quick process of how I previs this. I didn't do the whole previs because we didn't have budget and time. And what I did is I did what we call a 3D storyboard. But okay, first step is just napkin sketches, right? This is just idea for me, on my notebook, and just try to work out the story beat and what's going on in each of the scene. Very simple. Everybody can sketch, right? And doodle style. But then I decided to go into Unreal Engine and basically do what I call a 3D storyboard of every scene that's going to happen in the film. So we have divided into 5 scenes. We have the destination film, the scene of destination. She's traveling in the car, driving into the desert of Utah. She's looking for a magical mushroom. Then she was camping at night. Then she was doing an experiment and she found the mushroom. Then she got sucked into the mushroom fungi surreal world, and then she woke up, and that's the end. Very straightforward, A to B, kind of a boring story, but this is the whole goal is to do a showcase of virtual production with 5 different techniques for the studio. So that's why I want to keep the story simple, no dialogue. She's just basically talking to mushroom, but the mushroom can sing. So it's like
quite a lot of complicated setups in there. Just by looking at it, I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, I love experimental film. So and I love to experiment with like simple story, but with visual kind of a treatment. So so when I go into Unreal Engine and I set up the tone of each scene, and basically, just doing on my own as director. Then when I pass this into to the crew or my DP, he got it right away. He's like, okay, I understand. The first shot is more warm. She's going into the darker space. The thing is getting tinier. So with this visual storyboard, it's much better than a 2D storyboard, right? And you can open your Unreal project and kind of rotate the camera around. But with the DP, he was looking at this and it's like, all right, I can just make this shot super easy. And that's kind of helped translate my story to the visual much faster. And what do we do? What do we need to do a Previs or a 3D storyboard as we speak? First of all, one first element is we need environment or props in the scene, right? It's kind of like when we make a short film. We need a character with emotion. Then we need a camera and lighting setup. And I will play you a few videos that I made as like behind the scene of this, and I will talk through the process here. Okay, let's start with the first video. Why not? Because I can't go to Utah, and we basically do a virtual scout on the area that feel like it's closer to my stories, right? Then I make some sketches, go to Unreal Engine, do some kit batching on the free stuff. I bought the car, but this is how I kind of gathering stuff together, create a first simple level, and then once you have this level set up, you kind of doing a blocking for your environment, right? Just like when you do in the film shoot, and basically just gray boxing to get the shape and the size of your wall and environment together. Then you go to Quixel, make a scan and start replacing all these boxes into the final shot. And it is all 3D scans and it has very high poly, so it looks pretty good already out of the box, and it's real time, right? This is throwing MetaHuman, throwing the car, from blocking to set build. It's an hour or 2 or 3 or whatever you want to spend, right? Then you start looking for framing. So once you're on the location, it's like, okay, and then you can adjust the sun. I guess people who do Unreal, this is like a piece of cake, but you can get a master shot really fast with your character and a prop, right? Then you start to go into level sequences, create a sequence and put the camera in. Adjust. Now we want to do just the pose of the character, right? Just to get the pose. So with a few kind of control rig pose in MetaHuman, you can actually do that. And as you can see, I make a static frame instead of animated frame. And with this one setup, you can put camera as you want, right? And that's kind of how you experiment with the shot. Okay, so once you have that, what else do you need to do? This is the second video. Then you need to put the motion in your character. You have a static body, like, okay, now it's jumping in my office here. I have a Rococo suit, and as you can see, I work a lot in my office. Yes, so basically, you can prototype your shot really quickly. You don't have to have the suit. I can show you like the AI tool a little later, but just a few click. I mean, it's not a few click. Like sometimes you have to asset, put it together, put some lighting, put some visual effect on. You actually get a quite emotional shot here, right? And you can take this shot as a sample to go to the DP and say, hey, what do you think about this? And he will have his ideas. But you start from a 3D scene that everybody understand how the scaling and everything is and how to put stuff. So that's much easier than talking about stuff in 2D. And what else can you do? um, so you can actually do a virtual camera with an iPad. So Unreal has a VCam, and it's so much easier now. I was on the 5.2 or 5.3 on this, but you can change the lens, you can change um, the aperture, make it more blur or close up. But it's basically having a little bit of a virtual scout in your scene, and now you can hand this iPad into your DP. You can have fun with it, and you're kind of framing your shot together. And once you have that, you just like take a screenshot and put that in the storyboard.
Just a trivia for everyone, if you notice, Tu is actually sitting in the same office where he was actually filming right now.
I never leave, man. Sorry. Yeah.
That was brilliant to, how quickly you can not only come up with a visual representation of your idea, of your story, but actually start throwing motion into it and bringing it to life. And now with real-time virtual production, it's becoming so much easier and democratizing the creative industry overall, and especially the creators for making their stories come to life.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to show here. It's just me playing around with my shot. And okay, you don't need to previs do motion capture for all your shot. It's just like, okay, let's experiment with this shot. How's the camera gonna look, right? And no one's actually previs the whole thing. They're gonna look at the shot and was like, okay, what's the most complex shot? Then you kind of work it out as you go. But from what I'm trying to say here is just one artist. You can get to this point fast. And I don't have any 3D background, and I don't have a cinema film school or whatever. But from just a normal guy who just having fun around with the engine, you can actually create a story. That's super scrappy style. That's I'm all about it. Yeah.
But to do all of this, give or take, how long did it take you from the point where you did the napkin sketches to actually the point where you were walking around with your iPad and actually filming the shots?
It depends on how how well Unreal Engine. I mean, at this point, I can do it relatively quickly because we can use some plugin. We can download stuff from Makerscan. You drop some environment in and just like basically prototype, right? But if you're starting out, you just have to take time at it, and to do this, you have to be generalist. You can't be a specialist, because to do environment, you have to understand the terrain and how to paint stuff, and how to use the height map, for example, right? So I mean, with one shot like that, I can do like 2 or 3 hours. That shouldn't be that hard. Once I have all the time consuming part is the gathering asset as well. Kit batching. You have to look for stuff, and you don't want to pay for money.
Yeah, but the good thing, of course, with the Epic ecosystem is that there is so much
A lot
free
of free
stuff
stuff. Yes.
given away by Epic Games. Earlier, it used to be Unreal Marketplace. Now we have fab.com, which incorporates Sketchfab as well. So, this is just amazing. Brilliant.
I always tell the student to just like click on the filter of free on the fab and just use it. And you have a lot already to play with.
Absolutely.
Okay, just moving a little bit further from on the left side is one I saw a previous storyboard, and on the right side is the final film. And as you can see how closely assembled it is to the final shot. And from the video that I showed earlier, to see this come to life, it's just amazing feeling, right? and I mean, if you work with good people like my DP is like very spot on, and he takes his own spin as well. I mean, it's crazy how well you can translate your vision into the final film really quickly. And from the left, this is like the night scene, and I feel like that's the magic of pre-visualization, visualization in general in real-time technology nowadays. So I want to play you. I can't play you the whole film because it's like 10 minutes long, but this is like a teaser to the film.
Wow, dude, this is amazing.
Thank you. It is.
In the cinema halls.
I think there's a lot of interesting thing that I can talk all day about this film, but one thing that's crucial for virtual production film, especially the one that's shot on LED wall, is color grading. So the color grading to match the background and the foreground together, I have to be like, my colorist is in Thailand, and we kind of sit down to a session and like, okay, you have to match the black level to the shadow of the car, right? And the white and those things, it always helps to blend. I mean, it's a cinema magic, right? Blending the real and the fake together, right? And that's all we have to do.
I do have to say that does not translate into saying we will fix it in post. Just for everyone watching, we don't fix it in post, we fix it in pre and in production.
I mean, it's from my experience now, that's gonna be something you fix it in post as well. So all the traditional way of working on film still valid. There's some cleanup need to be done in post. There's some things, a lot of film they don't shot all in LED volume. They do a combination of like green screen and even like rotoscoping still need to be done in post, right? And all the temp background that you use, sometimes they have to rotoscope it out and replace it with the CGI background in Maya or whatever program. It's an higher fidelity, right?
Yeah.
So that was the film, and this is basically a behind the scene BTS scene. It's quite a production here. We have over 70 people in the studio, and we have a top the ceiling wall. We push it down. We can lower it down to get the reflection on the car, and it's all we want to go at making this virtual production film the best as we can and quality wise, and that's why we have so much fun making this film. Cool. Okay, how are we doing? I mean, we're not even halfway yet, but it's fun talking about this thing. And I actually want to switch gear here to the sequel of the Unlit. This is the Unlit Awakening.
You already have a sequel? I've not even seen the first one.
Well, the sequel, this project is basically for me to learn how to actually make film proper short film, but also the story come from me, and I want to kind of experiment with different media, right? So what if we shot the virtual production film already with live actors, but what if we do an animated version that is basically a little bit of a parallel universe? She still have the mushroom, but her face and body is different, right? And what is the new adventure? Maybe that's a new, I can talk to the investor now. Just a pitch list, basically. So the idea is to create this for actually a Kit Bash 3D challenge, to do all in Unreal Engine with MetaHuman. Again, we start with ideas and sketches, not the sketches, the references, right? And I got really big inspiration from my trip to Italy, to Sehgal. With this is actually a real location that I went to. And I have a love in the 90s Japanese kind of machine robot. So, the giant or this machinga thing is, is like, and then the Ghibli robot here. So I kind of combine all the love of my inspiration into this film, and like, okay, what kind of thing that we can make? But I want to have the set in the Sehgal mountain in Italy. How do we do that? Oh, so I first storyboard. Now I go traditional, right? Instead of doodling, because I am working with another artist, a 3D artist. So I have to actually communicate with her what the story is. And I decided to go this route because, she's a little bit more traditional, and I think it's depend on who you're talking to. But with this, we can kind of go back and forth on the story a little bit better. And this is done in iPad, right? And I just throw it in really quickly. I mean, it's not really quickly, but as you can see, it's traditional 2D storyboard, right? But now I jump into Unreal Engine, and because I'm using the real location, I go to Google Earth first. Like, okay, I have to scout the location on Google Earth, right? But there's this plugin in Unreal called Cesium that you can actually download the Google Earth data into Unreal and use that in Unreal and use it as the prototype and at the visualization phase. So on the top, with this robot, it's basically an attempt for me to place where the castle is, how big is the robot, and just experiment with the camera angle and playing with the lighting, right? So I also do, this is almost like a 3D storyboard, kind of the same ideas as the previous version. So with the Cesium now, you can take the data of Google Earth into Unreal, which is fun. Okay, so what is this? Okay, then I go do mocap. More mocap. There you go. And actually, this mocap I was actually doing for temp, but it's ending up into the film. So I was acting as the character and also the robot. Again, I'm in my office. And this is the funny one. Try to do a transformation robot with me in the mocap suit. It's turned out all right. So I have to kind of hand animate some part of the robot and adjust it in keyframe a little bit. But as you can see, once we have the motion from the mocap, we actually can transfer it in the robot. And with the robot arms, you can see it's basically just parenting to. I can talk about the rigging thing. Yeah, and again, I think with this prototype to the final, I basically just play around with the camera and the lighting. Once I have the motion and the robot, the character in, and that's all about you playing with the suit. So just a little bit about the. Oh,
So powerful.
thank you. This robot. I actually tried to find ways to rig this robot for a long time, and I tried to do it in Blender, and I actually have no idea how to do it, and it's just Blender to Unreal, just weird. So what I did is I export each of the parts, and then parent it to the bone of Manny, right? So it's basically like in the 80s in the Japanese like anime with the robot, they actually have a guy in the black suit, and then they actually have a like armor, the real armor inside. So the guy was there's a person inside. So this kind of a paying the homage to that kind of technique, right?
With all the work that I've done with our films and other stuff, I would have not guessed it, but that is brilliant. And like you said, a creative director is not only a person who has the vision and everything else, but on the fly to come up with unique solutions. It's not about the tools, it's about the solutions and how to bring that vision to life.
I mean,
So
I didn't came up with
great.
it. I actually was this is interesting because I was doing a webinar with Rococo, and there was a guy, I think he won the kickback challenge or something, and he's like, oh, he doesn't want to actually animate rig stuff, so he uses technique to basically having just using parented thing to Manny and basically stretch Manny out a little bit and make him like bigger, and with the fingers they just parent like stuff. I mean, it takes some time, but it works, right? Whatever works.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
No solution is off the table.
So I'm not the most technical person here, but I know what I want. I have the vision, and the way I explain to people, I have to do this previous. I have to do this way so I can explain to my animator or my environment artist, like, okay, this is the robot. This is how we're gonna animate, and that's part of it, and then we can use it for the final, right?
Yep.
Okay, I mean, I have the film. It's like 5 minutes long. Do you want to see it?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure everyone wants to see.
It's very simple. It's very simple, but I did spend like 2 months on this, so please enjoy. or it's a pitch whiz. More to come.
Wow.
Yeah, so I have myself acting, and I have my wife using doing the face for the girls. And this is how it works. You have Manny, and you have the armor that attached to Manny. So, and using Kit Bash as a part of the robot build.
And then many just made invisible and hidden.
Yeah, I just make the material invisible.
Simple, but nobody could have guessed. Amazing too. This is unbelievable.
Thank you guys. It's fun to do something like this, right? And I'm not I'm not like the most technical person, but I want to make this simple story, and we want to push. The technique is less important than the visual aspect of it, and the most important part is how do we use the asset from Kitbash 3D. Unfortunately, I didn't win anything. I got into the finalists of what's it called, the popular vote, but I was going against a guy who had like 100K follower, and I
Not about the winning, it's about what you created at the end of the day and the learning that came out of it. That is going to add and has added so much value to commercials that we are seeing.
Yeah, and the whole point is that I want to create this, for me, and also hopefully we can pitch the story in the future, right? So that's kind of a little bit of an experiment that I have.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think one last thing, this is I just discovered this a little bit, a while ago. That I just thought show this video to my class a couple of days ago. I was experimenting. I was doing a deep dive into AI motion capture solution, and I found that this Chinese company Quick Magic is quite a magical solution for me as like a quick thing that you use. So I made this video, and it actually turned out pretty awesome. Right? Let me start again. So this is a new meta-human that I created, like jumping kick, right? And basically I just kicking it and then load it up in Quick Magic, and it's like doing its thing. And then you get this very decent motion out. Then you got slow motion in there. Right?
You're a good jumper. You're a good jumper.
I'm trying. It basically, all these two are still experimentation phase, and I feel like with Quick Magic, the foot there's no foot sliding as much as the other one. So for this video, it may work with my videos, and that worked for me. So AI is becoming an essential tool for previsualization and visualization in general, right? Okay. Where are we at? We are 36. Okay. How are you guys feeling? Should we go fast or should we go slow?
So far, I don't know let's see if we have any mid-level questions. No questions at the moment.
Oh.
I think everyone is just mesmerized by seeing what you're showing. I know I am.
Well, hopefully this is gonna be fun to talk about. So I want to switch gear a little bit from visualization or pre-visualization for film or short film in this case, and we want to kind of get into the other side of visualization, Now I want to kind of introduce you to Twinmotion, which is it used to be architecture visualization tool that's kind of a sister program to Unreal Engine. And with this update, they are actually pursuing for more product visualization and or other type of visualization, and it's super easy to make. And you know, they have even a template for LED volume, right? And in this case, I quickly make this shot to prototype the ideas of like, okay, the setup of our visual stage. So just to remember, because Twinmotion is very simple program, it cannot do anything as much as Unreal Engine, but the idea is to prototype something fast, and then you kind of can export through what's it called, the data smith to Unreal Engine and make it a little bit more finished, right? And just to this shot, okay, what if you have a client like, okay, come to your studio and like, okay, we want to shoot a car shot, and you know, we want to have a guy driving in the city, and what does it look like? What does the setup look like? This is not about the camera per se, but what does the setup look like, right? And with this setup in Twinmotion, I can show you a little later. You can actually start rotating the camera and grabbing frames as another storyboard or visualization or like a presentation tool to quickly mock up. This is where the car is. This is where the actor is. This is the wide shot. This is like the profile shot, the back shot. And you can kind of export that out and put in your presentation really quickly. So you can do the exterior shot of the car, or you can do the interior shot of the car. Just quickly mocking up the camera movie. This is not final or anything, right? Just playing around with the camera, the space, and the LED wall, right? And as you can see, there's a lot of reflection already in the car, kind of what we shot, what we will be shooting in the LED volume, right? And because Unreal Engine is kind of doing a good job of simulating all this light and reflection, you definitely get the sense that this is you know, a scene from a short film or a commercial or movie, right? And you can take it from there. And actually, you know, let me jump into Twinmotion now. Okay, can I present something else? I will just go to the entire screen. You guys see my screen? So I have the Twinmotion open. I actually have this jacket shot that I will talk about a little later, but I want to go to my LED wall. So in Twinmotion, you have all this template. Well, the template is here. As you can see, they have LED wall template. They already have, you know, car visualization in different environment. This is super cool. They have, you know, all these things you can use it. I mean, I just learned Twinmotion just basically less than a month ago, but you can get it running really quickly, right? So let's see what the LED Studio has. Okay, let me save this and open the LED Studio. Come on, is it saving?
That's the new edition in Twinmotion that has come through that has the template for the LED wall.
Yes, it's the latest version. Whoa, what's going on? Oh, crash. Well, Twinmotion is still Unreal Engine, so it crashes. Okay.
That's the fun of Unreal.
Yeah. But I would have to say Twinmotion crashes less than Unreal Engine because it's much lighter and it's gonna load much faster. Okay, let's see if I can open this. Cool. Right. Seems like we have a question.
Sorry. Yes, indeed. Pyro Waveborn has a question about quick magic, and can it do more than one person?
I don't think it can right now.
Still
If you want to
early
do
stage.
multi-person, you have to go with Move AI with multicam. One camera is not enough to make the differences between all this AI too. I think it works well with one person, but I think some other program can do it 2 or 3. But from what I know, for quick magic, you can do one. I might be wrong though.
Yeah. Now, for those wondering, multi-people, there are some other AI motion capture solutions as well. You've got Deep Motion 3D, you've got Meshcapade. So look those up. Same as with Quick Magic, most of these AI new tools do have a freemium opportunity as well. So there is no reason not to jump in and try out your ideas.
Exactly.
Meshcapade actually does do the multi-people. You upload the video, and multi-person, it will capture the motion.
Yeah, you probably know Meshcapade much more than me because I tried out and it doesn't work with my video. I mean, all this AI tool, right? It's like take something in, you don't know what you're gonna get.
They're experimental. Yeah.
Yes. So just quickly to show you guys in Twin Motion, it's the UI is super simple, right? You have a lot of templates, you have a lot of preset. You have the one on the right, you have what's called outliner. Okay, I just gonna move you guys here. But the cool part is with the LED wall, it actually pretty much set up like you can make it wider, can make it shorter, can make it smaller. You can change the angle of it too. So this is already kind of like a preset wall for you to like quickly prototype the setup. And to change this texture, there's a 3 tabs here, right? They don't give you a lot of stuff. You can change to chroma key, green screen, boom, like that, right? You can put on the texture or video, boom, that's the video, right? And I'm using this video from my friend Simplate. They actually do a render of 360 video for driving plates. And you're gonna have his logo a little bit, but this is like render out from I think is Blender, right? But anyway, you can upload your video or you can download from Getty Images, a 360 video of driving plates. And now you have this thing running, right? And that's super cool. You can zoom in and out, and now you can do a setup really quickly. And again, as you can see, this playback is not really well because it's not really optimized. I think Twin Motion is not handling video that well just yet, but just as a reference guide, and you you see there's a LED wall on top. You can actually put it on chroma key, or you can put on configurator, or you can put it on texture, right? So basically, I use the same texture to put it on the top, and you can kind of pull it down, and if you get closer here, you can see the reflection, right, on the car here, right, in the window. Yeah, it's not here yet, but see?
Yeah.
So it's kind of simulating what the LED reflection is, kind of, not 100% accurate, but you already see the setup really quickly.
This is so cool because at the moment in the industry, what's happening, of course, as we are saying, a lot of studios suddenly just popped up all across the board, but there's a whole science in setting up for ICVFX, as you mentioned. And
Yep.
it all comes down from how do we actually previs, how do we come up with that blocking, right? So what is going to be projected on that LED wall
Yep.
has to be designed for projection. It's not the same as a game level that is going to be used to
No.
project on like a big screen monitor, which is what LED walls are. But in this, you can definitely then start planning out how the practical set extensions can happen. And basically, that is how Mandalorian was done, and many other films are being done.
So what I would do for this is you get the rough idea of how the wall is, what it because Twin Motion is based on architecture visualization tool. So you place stuff really easy. Everything here, as you can see, is from the library. So you have objects, you have tons of stuff. You can put a chair here. Boom, got a chair. Like, so way too easy, right? You can put a plant here. Boom, okay, you got a plant, right? Anyway, but the whole idea is because of this new tool like this, you can prototype something for your client super easy, right? And the thing that I like about screen motion, I'm not an expert to it. You can actually, if you have, you can you go to this media tab, and you can save out basically your setup differently. For example, I already have a few, interior, exterior setup, right? So if I go to this angle, I set up the camera, and all you do is you click on plus button and click on this circle thing just to like save it and refresh it, and your view from this angle will already save, right? So I can switch around, and it's fast, right? And it's running real time. I go into
Well,
interior, yes.
I'm going to ask a silly question. I know the answer, but for the benefit of participants as well.
Sure.
So say, for example, this is the scene, so if you move into the car and do a over the shoulder, like somebody's sitting at the back
Like this.
seat. Right. Okay.
Yep.
So let's say this is the shot you want to capture. How do you add that in here so that you can have it as a reference that you can just click like you were showing?
What do you mean? Oh, so create a new one, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's create a new. Let's go to. Oh no. Okay. Let's go to this scene. Oh, now I have two cars. So this scene, and I create a new one here. I just put it at the back, right? Okay. So now when I click on
you just
image,
click the plus button and it adds
click the plus button. Click on the 18 here. You fly in basically, just like Unreal Engine.
WASD.
WASD.
Video
Yes.
game.
Classic style, right? So you put your camera here, right? Okay, let's say you like the camera here. First, you go to your image, and you can do this circle thing, and it's gonna save your view right away. So if you switch,
That's like capturing
it's
that
capturing,
particular shot.
yeah, right. And once you have that, now you're gonna play with the camera. Okay. Now, okay, let's say I want to go wider, like 24 millimeters, 24, so you can see more stuff. You want to get a little bit of depth of field, like on his, kind of focus on him a little bit. So you can enable that depth of field here, right? Pick a focus, boom, here. Then you can like move the distance a little bit. Or it's like you don't know what to do, just click, yeah. So, and then once you're done, you click this circle thing just to save the preset, right? It's super simple. And then now you can switch back and forth.
I mean, the shot you just made, I mean, that looks like a shot from a movie.
I mean, it kind of does, right?
It reminds me of a movie in which Brad Pitt is the driver, and I'm not going to talk more about it because then it spoils. But hey, quiz for all of you. Think about which movie I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things to show in here. The other thing that I think is kind of super cool about Twinmotion is you can do rendering. This is Lumen. Lumen is like the basic lighting in Unreal, right? Like a very good reflection. It's doing a runtime thing. But what if you want a higher resolution? You can turn this into path tracer. What if you want to kind of create this as path tracer? You basically just do a one click here, change to path tracer. Then all this dot thing will start generating your path tracing images. And path tracing is much more realistic kind of reflection and reflection, that they use on high-end CGI. It's not like real time. So you have to wait it until it process but you will get a lot more realistic light bouncing here. So it basically super simple, like one click, you can change from lumen to path tracing. And now, as you can see, it look even better, right? And if you kind of
Shadows still have a lot of details inside it, especially by where the gear shift stick is behind the seat. You can still see the form of the seat. It's not just flat black. Absolutely.
The light bouncing is much better. And if you can export this, just click to export, right? Add the image. What you want to image, where's image? Yeah. So you can select the image you want to export and you just do an export. Boom. Done. Right? It's super easy. Or you can do a screen grab. Click on the icon and you can just click on here, take a screenshot. Boom. It's gonna go into your desktop or something. But as you can
go to master class previous of a master class.
I mean, it is super simple, but thanks for Epic Games that make this tool, and I mean, for anyone can prototype this. The other thing is you can also change the car. Basically, you turn off. You have two cars here. Where's my car? So I have two cars. Basically, in this scene, I just turn off my Toyota and I turn on my Mercedes-Benz. But if I want to bring back my Toyota, well, the guy's still there. Here you go. And then you click on the circle refresh button. Then now it's going to record. Yeah, that's Toyota. Boom. Go back to Mercedes-Benz, turn on and off, and do a refresh. Now it's going to go back to Mercedes-Benz. Right? It's way too easy. Okay, so anyway, I think I kind of want to go to the other shot as well, which is quite fun to play around with. I might just go from here. So you can go to home here and go to Jacket Studio. Want to save? Sure, yes, save.
Always save. You never know what will come handy.
Yeah, this Twinmotion is so fun to play around with, but it's so limited. And I feel like the next experiment is how to integrate that seamlessly into Unreal. And I'm sure there's a pro and cons of doing this, but with this speed, I would think it's going to be beneficial to a lot of creative folks here. So I have a jacket here. I didn't make this jacket. I just downloaded it. How do you download it? Go to Sketchfab and you look for things like jacket. There you go. Boom. Jacket. But this is a good practice, right? So we have a jacket. We want to create a product visualization shot. You can already have a template, right? Start with a template to a white studio basic lighting. So that's what I start with. Okay, where? No. Go to jacket studio. Okay, so cancel. Wait. Okay, the jacket studio, same thing. We have a 3D mesh here. Click it. Boom. The other cool part that Twin Motion do is you can change what we call a configurator. Configurator can change the texture, can switch the environment as the interactive thing. There's interactive product visualization. So I want to show you what I made like last week. So I can go full screen. Oh, no, I think this. Wait. Okay, yeah. It's way too big. Give me a second.
We can
Okay.
see.
Do you see this?
Yeah.
And you see this button at the bottom here?
Yep.
This is the preset you can make. Okay, first of all, what if you want to show the client the different patterns on your shirt, right? You click here. I have the original texture here, but you can do a preset that you can change the texture and then you save it into the button. And this is super fast. Look at this.
I blinked. I missed. Can you show that again?
Well, I haven't shown you how to make it yet, but this is a preset button, right? And you can just look around it, right? And basically, I just changed the material of the jacket. That's basically it. Once I change the jacket, I basically press save to this button, then it recognizes, right? Cool. So I like this striped jacket. What if I want to see the back? You can actually animate something super simple. Then I make a button that we can see the back as well. You can see the front, you can see the back. So in Twin Motion, there's a rotator preset. You can rotate one time, 180, 90, things like that, right? And this is made for interactive thing. I don't know, you change the color, you want to see the back? Sure, right? But what if the client's like, okay, I don't like this white box. I want to kind of go somewhere else. So I make a few environment. And basically, it just in different folders, and you just turn on and off a visibility. So I have the white box, right? What if you want to go to a little bit more moody space? I have this environment like I don't know what's it called, lakeside thing with smoke. There you go. So it's like a game here, right? And again, with this environment, you still can, rotate your thing. You can change the color, right? Super fun. And what if you want to go like totally different world? Can also go to the forest. There's like different lighting. Oh, why is it clicking on? Just give me a second. Oh, now it's broken. Shit. Where am I? Configurator. Okay. Oh yeah, the green thing that you see here is basically I was selecting on an object. I should try clicking maybe G. Okay, try it again. Full screen. Oh, I don't know what happened. Well, as you can see, we can change the environment. This is super fast. You can change the jacket color super fast. So that's, you don't take a day to do this. You take like a few hours, right? And it's super fun.
Absolutely, this is great, and it is being used in the production industry as well. But like you said, it is still Twinmotion is going through a rapid development process since joining Epic Games ecosystem. And already we have a timeline, we have camera functions, we have basic animation sequencing. Now we have Lumen, Nanite is coming through as well. Path tracing is there. Now, there is one question that most people kind of get worried about Twinmotion, especially coming from Blender or Maya or, the traditional DCC platforms. And then when they open Unreal, they look at it, it's so overwhelming, they switch it off. Twinmotion is easy. However, the biggest question that I tend to get from a lot of people is, hey, I worked with my 3D artist. They created this jacket in Blender or in Maya or in ZBrush.
Yep.
Can I actually bring it inside Twinmotion?
Yeah.
Like you can import it inside Unreal Engine. Or what if I have my character and I want my character sheet, which is basically all my characters lined up, so that, hey, I can see them in different lights and everything, right?
So yeah, I think right now, as you're saying, the Twinmotion is start having a really good support for a lot of other things than architecture. So it used to be able to do, import CAD model, importing a SketchUp file, and if you see here, there's an import button, big button here, and you can, press. You can import geometry. You can do direct link.
OBX, OBJ, USD.
Yeah, that's all. You can also do point cloud as well.
Oh, okay. I did not know about that.
So there's a
There you
lot
go.
of things you
I just learned something.
can do. There's Cinema 4D actually can support it, but there's a lot of limitation in terms of animation. The only thing that I heard, you can't support Olympic like cloth file. It cannot. If you have animation, you can't use MetaHuman just yet. You have to export it and then bake the animation into FBX to have the animation come in. So it's quite limited. That's why I think you start with Twinmotion to mock things up like this and show it to the client. But once you want to get serious, bring it into Unreal Engine and do the crowd simulation, do the stuff like that. But you're gonna take 5 times longer to do that because you have to go to blueprints and things like that.
One thing a lot of people don't realize is they feel, hey, let's just jump into, same as a big film shoot. Let's just go into the studio, start building the sets and everything else. No, it's about the previs. It's about the visualization. So inside Twinmotion, like you were talking, build the set out, build the world out, do your scouting, and put those savings of that different shots. But the good thing is, because Twinmotion is part of Epic Games and the bigger pipeline, I believe, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we can take the level that I built, the world I've built, and using data with, can we send it into Unreal Engine? So I don't have to start all over again.
Yes, you can do it. I think what we talked about before is not everything going to be translated correctly, but they are building the pipeline right now because, again, it's using everything that Unreal understand, but it just makes things so much easier and with a basically preset of thing, right? Like for example, if you look at this environment, is basically a forest that use the same. Let me take off the depth of field here. Basically, it's basically foliage tool. Yeah. So basically, this is in 3D. It's crazy how you actually just Yeah, and it's using the same technology with the Unreal Engine like terrain creation.
Mm.
But I don't know it's gonna translate it one-to-one because the grass has LOD, and they have their own kind of material style. So, but in the future, doing this mock-up really quickly and and again, how far you want to take this, right? You want to take this further to do like realistic scene? Sure, just go into Unreal Engine and play around with it. But you
Yeah,
can't
as of
beat
now,
the
hard
speed of this.
surface objects transfer very nicely, but
Mhm.
foliage, obviously, because it is so complicated,
Mhm.
um, that doesn't translate completely. But hey, you never know. We might wake up in the weekend
You
and
never know because the new because I think Twin Motion always catching up to Unreal Engine, and that's gonna be a new foliage system in Unreal Engine coming up. So who knows? But for a visual artist, this is crazy. This is like, what? You can paint this. You can like make things, and then you can make things look good by just press one button and make it. Oh, like a path tracer. But path tracer also has its own limitation. It's gonna get a good reflection. Anyway, um, okay, I want to wrap up really this quickly. I think we have a lot of fun talking about the product visualization. Let me switch back into um, my tab here. Lastly, for the product visualization part, as you can see before, we have this nice jacket with the reflection of with a few click, you can get the water, you can get the the smoke and the rocks, and you can change the color, right? And we saw this before. So the next step is, what if you want to kind of change completely? Then you can throw in the AI, for example. Take this screenshot from Twinmotion, throw it in ChatGPT basically, and you get the different result. This is for experimentation. This is for like to tell the client that we experiment different lighting scenario and different background, and is this blue color work with this mountain environment? If it is, let's craft it out from scratch. But this is a quick ideation stage, right? And the thing about AI is never get things completely correct, because as you see the logo change, all this puff kind of change. But this is just reference, a quick reference. Less than, I don't know, 10 minutes you can get to here, right? Again, for cars, change the color of the car, change the environment, boom, boom, right? Change the character. She's wearing green now and the car is white, but the AI changed my car grill as well, but doesn't matter. It's it is what it is, just to get the idea. Even the environment, it has a consistency there, right? It's like a brutalist environment, and the top one is basically what I render out from Twinmotion, and I use like path tracer. You get much more detailed reflection here. Super fun. You can change the scenario, for example. You can do a tropical jungle. You can do the Hong Kong in the 80s. You can do the brutalist, right? Then from one picture with the AI, that it's not going to be 100% translation, but you get the ideas of where you think you're going to film this, or you want to film all of them, and within one scenario, you can actually do a variation on that, right? What if you wear the white? What if you wear the hat? What if the car is green? And again, it's AI, so things never translate one-to-one. It's gonna keep changing your product. So the client's not gonna be happy 100% to see the product change, but at least nowadays the word Land Rover stay the same. Before it was like pretty
I'll tell
crazy.
you what, to the
Mm.
middle image, the way
Yeah.
that Land Rover paint looks,
Yeah.
if I can get the car like that, I'm ready to buy that right now. You sold me on that.
Well,
Those are my
it's pretty shiny, right? It's pretty shiny. It's kind of interesting because the only prompt I told the AI to change is her dress and make the street a little bit more vibrant with the street vendor. So they did a good job at that, but they turned my car into like a very neon kind of future cyberpunk video. You know,
That is
and
where AI has its limitations.
for
It
now,
does not maintain the
Mhm.
original consistency. Each iteration, it will start adding and
it get
uh,
much closer. As you can see, the word is probably not the same, but it's close. But it keep moving the girl closer and closer. I don't know why. It changed the lens. Right? I guess it changed the lens now. Um, but before, I think we have 3 minutes left. Or I used the whole 2 hours. That's crazy. Um, Again, this is kind of my two sets this month for now. I have what we talk about, Unreal Engine, Twin Motion. I think Blender is a good combination with all those to kind of fix the geometry and manipulate the 3D assets. I still use Adobe stuff for sure. I have Procreate to do some sketches. For mocap, I have worked with accents. I have Rococo suit myself. I use Move AI. Quick Magic is basically just the AI thing that I added recently. Um, I also do a few 3D scanning too. I haven't shown you guys, how I can bring a 3D scan into Unreal Engine, but you can do that, um, you know, quite easy as long as FBX. And I think Polycam is one of the leading one, and the right side is the AI thing. So I stuck with ChatGPT and Gemini, which I think is one of the best kind of assistant tool. And for me personally, I don't use purely one thing or the other because I found like it's like a two different person. um, I sometimes cross-check Gemini, ChatGPT stuff with Gemini as well. So kind of try to compare. You never trust answer from one person. This thing, right? But a lot of other AI generative tool, I have my close eye on it. Have used and experiment with a little bit of them. Didn't get a good result. So, but it costs money to pay even monthly, like $10 or $20 per each per month, and it's better to save money and wait. And ChatGPT can do a lot of things. Gemini can do VO2 if you pay the subscription. So a lot of it's to getting smarter and smarter. So combination of traditional creation tool and the AI assistant tool will be, I think, winning combination. And again, don't forget this word from my friend Quentin. You don't need to know everything. The only thing you need to know is your vision and how to explain it to other people, and they're gonna make it awesome for you. And that's it. Thank you.
thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your depth of insight and your creative philosophy around bringing visions to life. And it's truly forward-thinking perspective of your workflow. Your approach to Previs and storytelling reminds us that the technical and the emotional don't live in separate worlds, but in fact, they coexist. So, and they inform each other in experimentation. And when integrated thoughtfully, they unlock something extraordinary, which you showed us with the LED wall and from the Toyota to the Mercedes and framing those shots and the jacket and in a full 3D environment inside Twin Motion, and then taking it with open AI chat GPT and then visualizing it in different environments and lighting scenarios. What you've shown us today is not just how to use tools, but how to see differently. And I believe that is the magic sauce. That is the superpower, and that is what makes you a creative director at the end of the day. And how to think creatively within the constraints and how to lead with story, no matter the platform. So thank you.
Thank you. That's such a nice word.